I remember the first time I actually heard Pink House on the radio. I was sitting at home washing my car, listening to KKC like many other times. But this time was different. I was listening to a voice, different voice. Of course, I've heard many different voices on the radio, but this voice was different and unique, which I've heard different and unique voices on the radio. But it was just something special about this person I had to see, which I had did the same thing before to other folk as well. I came in to the studio and make a special visit to see him. But I had to make a special visit to see this guy because there was something different about him, about his voice. So I come into the studio, make a special visit to see Pink House, shake his hand, let him know how good of a job he's doing. He turns on me and said, Mike Brown, I know you, man. I used to listen to you, man. I heard you on the radio. I said, I want to be just like you. I said, okay. All right, brother. I said, let me tell you this. Don't be like me. Be better than me. I said, second of all, I said, I come here to see you and to honor you and let you know how good of a job you're doing. So from then on, we talked in studio a couple times here and there and whatnot. We did some remotes together, one at a beeper company, one at a barber shop, and one at a record company on 87th Street. And I remember that one in particular, I remember all of them, but that one in particular, it was the first place I actually signed an autograph. And he pulled me into this. And prior to that, no one ever requested me to be a part of a remote. And I believe because of him, because I got a part of those remotes, he pulled me into those. Now, some other things that he did for me as well. He pulled me into 950 AM rap radio, guys, you already know. I remember I was working at my day job. At the time, I was at the station I was working at. I was working for Doug Banks as the backup engineer to the Curl Man. I get a 911 page on my phone. Just a string of numbers, and I'm like, what is this number? I thought it was a test page from the beeper company because it was a string of numbers. And I put it together and said, okay, 911, so somebody's calling me 911. So I called it up. And he tells me it's Pink House. Hey, man, what's going on, man? I mean, he had my number. I just didn't recognize the number. And he tells you, I'm over here at 9:50 a.m. I'm doing a 2-hour show. I said, yeah, I listened to you, bro. He said, now they're starting to add personalities. And Jay Allen asked me, do I know anyone that would fit into the station? And the first person I thought about was you. So I'll say, hey, cool. He said, if you're interested, I'll hook it up with you and Jay, and we'll make this thing happen. I said, fine, do it. So I interviewed with Jay. I became a part of 950 AM WJPC because of Pink House. Now, another thing he did for me as well, I was bogus for this, me being in the industry as long as I was at the time. I should have known better. I was using the name Michael Brown, my full name, and that's not a radio name. So I remember one time he walked in the studio and he came in, hey, what's going on, Mike Brown? And it didn't dawn on me right away, but eventually I said, wait a minute, that clicks. And I said, that sounds more radio-ish than Michael Brown, than using my full name. From that point on, because of Pink, I use the name to this day because of Pink House, Mike Brown. That's because of Pink House. And 106 Jams would have never happened had it not been for Pink. And we also worked together there as well. And Power 92 would have never happened as well had it not been for Pink. And, of course, he wasn't with us at the time. And I give much respect and honors to the man. He did so many things for me. He helped me. He's helped so many other folks. Not only when he was in the spotlight, he was in it by himself, but he shared that spotlight with so many other folks. He pulled so many other people into his spotlight to share that spotlight with him and for them to expound on the things that they do, which a lot of folks are to this day are doing some things today because of Pink House. And I give much respect and honors to the man. I love him. I miss him. Out of all the people in this world outside of my family, which is a man, I can say Pink House, I loved him. And I really, truly love the man. I really do. Miss him, love him, always miss him. Pink House for life.